And let's wait and see what we get. Okay, so got some emails coming in. I see one stream has popped up. And we'll just put that there as a prep. And let's go to the second screen. And I see that that has gone green. So let's make sure my sound is on. It is. Let's see if these live things are working yet. They may or may not be. That one appears to be. Activate. And let's go to this one. That one is not yet. I jumped on that one a little fast. So I'm not surprised that one is not yet ready. So we'll dock that one there. And we'll give that a second to come up. In the meantime, if I go to here, I don't know why that doesn't just come up anymore, but, you know, that's all right. And this will be test 3. So test 3, but we're not ready to test quite yet until I have my other chat thing working. Not yet, even though by all accounts it is working. Not unless it's this one. Huh, what do you know? It's that one. All right, activate, sure. Like it matters. All right, live chat there. Let's go to participants. Okay, I think everything is good there. Let's hit this button, see if we hear a noise, everybody. We did. Excellent. So now I just have to get that window visible. That would be this. And all right, so let's do our testing. Okay, here we go. So let's make this window visible. Let's do test number 1. And it is visible, which means I can close this window. Bam! Closed. And let's go to test 2. Test 2 is a good. Oh boy, is a go. I think is what I was trying to say. And now let's just do test 3. And test 3 is successful. We are good. So, okay. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's roll the intro. I already tested that, so everything else should be working. We should be actually in good shape for once. And we'll just wait and give this a second. Wow, right about at 6:30. That was what I was aiming for. Okay, good. Everything is working. Unbelievable. I will celebrate by having a drink of water. Hold on. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. All my chat windows are working. Everything is sound. I got my notification emails. Wait a minute. Why do I have 3? Hold on. I didn't think I'd have 3 of them. Why do I have 3 of them? Oh, okay, because one is not anything related to the stream. Okay, just checking. I was like, wait a minute. Technically I am doing 3 streams, but I usually only get 2 emails. That's why. So, what we are looking at is an illustration of one of the hosts over on twit.tv who hosts a Dungeons & Dragons game. The host name is Mike Sargent. I've had him on my late night show. Let's see, earlier this year, I believe. Yes, earlier this year. And he is the Dungeon Master for this Dungeons & Dragons game. I had done another image of him as the Dungeon Master for a St. Jude's charity thing, but he had also kind of gotten into character as this... I don't know. I have to ask him what the name of this character is. The other character was a celestial being. This seems to be either a living scarecrow or some kind of spirit of like a Halloween themed thing. I really don't know. But anyway, so I'm doing this image. These color dots are samples I took off of. I basically took a couple of photos of him and composited them because in one of them, his eyes were really wide open and expressive like they are here. But then in the other one, he was smiling. So I was literally going to put my hand over the iPad like you could tell what I was doing, just as an idea so you get what I'm talking about. So in the actual photo, or in the actual stream, there was one point where, here, I'll just do this. So essentially, that's the top. This was one photo. And then there was this one. So I just kind of roughly put them together and was able to then get an idea of what I was going to go for, and that's what this is. So, yeah, this image did not exist in the stream, but one like it did. So I'm just going through and putting in the colors and the detail work, because here's the sketch layer. So you can see that's fairly straightforward. It pretty much lines up. I changed some of the ruffles down here in small ways, nothing too drastic, and the bow is a little bit different. I am I may do a version where his facial hair, the beard here that he has, instead of having that be hair, I may attempt to make that pieces of straw. But for now, I'm going to stick with just doing the hair version, and then I want to get this version done. And if I get this done and I have the time, I'm going to go in and do strands of straw for his actual facial hair. And that might look more like the kind of scarecrow theme. That's if that works out, but right now I'm concentrating on doing the stuff I know I can do. So all the line work is actually in there. So now what we're talking about, or what we're looking at, is color and shadow. So let's go ahead and block in the major skin tone here, which I believe the main skin tone is this one here. Let's just see. So let me take a look here. These were all sampled. Well, okay, well, let's try doing this where I can actually cover a lot at the same time. So I think this is going to be the base skin tone here. You know, the problem with getting some of the skin tones and everything off of a stream image is they're not always accurate. So what I may do is do a quick lookup of him on the web to see if I can get a sense of whether this is right or not. These things can always be corrected. That's the nice part. This stuff can always be fixed. But I don't want it to be, you know what? I'm looking at a couple of pictures of him. I mean, it's always tricky because what I'd almost have to do is ask him what tone he thinks is the most accurate. But depending on the picture that I'm looking at, you know what? Actually, hold on. There's a really good photo here. Hold on. I'm looking at... I think, actually, which tone is this? I may have gone... What did I do? This one? Yeah. Maybe it's... Well, that one looks a little darker to me. I feel like I'm a little bit too dark. So let me push this. Let me do a little bit of brightness on here, but still keep the saturation, but just move it up a bit. See, it's just tricky. You know, it's very... Any skin tone is tough to do, but I feel like that's... I feel like that is more accurate than where I started. Now, this is always stuff that I can fix. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. These are things that can be corrected. Skin tone can always be fixed because I can always go in and adjust it after the fact. Yeah, see how much darker that is? That's what I started with. I think this is a better base color because I can go in and I can always correct it. So I'm not going to worry about that too much right this second. What I'm going to worry about is getting the big kind of color forms in, and then I'll refine them, and I'll figure the skin tone part out. And then and plus, this does not have to be perfectly accurate. I could actually go with a wild, non-human skin color to embrace the spirit of the what is it? The pumpkin patch? I want to say maybe. I don't remember. Anyway, whatever it is. This may not end up being the final color at all. That's the nice part about having this stuff all in digital. I don't have to make a permanent decision on this. This skin tone color, this color in general, all the colors, can so easily be altered if it makes more sense later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a black layer here because I do know the stuff that I want to be blackened out, which is pretty easy. Centrally, it's going to be the pupils. I believe that's considered the pupils. Now, I could make, and that's the other part about making this its own way. Wow, that's a good look. Oh, you know what? I just realized I missed the line on the teeth. I completely forgot. I completely missed a line on the teeth. So let's fix that because that can't happen. That'll just bug me forever. So let's go ahead and do a quick fix on that. Whoops. Wrong size. Whoa. Was that my stomach? I heard a weird noise. I think it was my stomach. Sorry about that. If Mike picked it up. It was not intentional. Is that? Oh, I forgot. Oh, there it is. I don't know if that's right. I think it's a 4. Let's look at 4. Does that look right? That looks right. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do a quick fix on that. Okay, that might be a little too harsh. Let me try this. There we go. Just so it doesn't look like the teeth kind of go off into nothingness, which is no good. There we go. Just had to fix that really quick. Very easy. Merge down, and our teeth are done. So back to the black layer. Where's the black layer? Whoa, jeez. Let's see. Your stream's got chill vibes. Real and shell your stream. Loving your stream. The vibes are awesome. Add me on Discord. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do go for a very relaxed feeling in my streams. Whoop. Wait. Oh, it's an eraser. That's fine. That is the point, is just for people to come and hang out. Just have a relaxing bit of artwork in the background. Okay, so let me think about this. That's going to be that darker color for the hat, which could end up being black, but I don't know for sure yet. Let's see. Okay, so now I need the pen. Let's go ahead and put the assist on. That is, yep, that's mirrored. So let's just go ahead and we'll just do a black background on the actual, or behind, I should say, the teeth, just to make it easy. This, again, can always be changed. I could make his teeth into candy corns. Like, I could really go crazy on this and make it highly stylized. And I might. For now, I'm just getting the base forms in, because what I'd like to do, ideally, is I would like to have this ready for the next round, which will be a week from today. So we're going to try to have this done. I'm ready to go for that. So we'll see what it ends up actually looking like. Yeah, so for now, we're just going to black these areas out. Can always change them later. That's the nice part. But for now, we're going to go with this and that. Okay, let's see. Oh, I meant to, yeah. Okay. All right, let's see here. Even though I know that thing makes a sound, it still kind of jolted me. I'm sort of used to not having much going on in the chat. So I was like, hey. I had an interesting message come in this morning, as a matter of fact, on, what is the word for it? Well, actually, it came through two places. I got an email and a message on Instagram from somebody who is interested in getting my Shieldred artwork put onto a table. Just said, hey, I'm open for that. I don't know how big the artwork's going to have to be, but it really shouldn't be hard to recreate it at the size it needs to be. I would imagine that will be relatively easy, so we'll see. I'd be all for it. I mean, it's really wild to think that somebody would want my artwork as their card table. That's pretty cool. I have to admit, I like it. I just realized I never erased those lines. Let's get those lines erased, shall we? It's these now. There they are. Let's get our eraser. And let's just clean that up a little bit, shall we? Only takes a second, but a worthwhile thing to do. So, yep, okay. So let's finish adding in the color, the base skin tone here. Let's get that added in. And we'll just get that around there. Make sure I don't have any missed edges. Okay. Get that. Okay, now ears. Let's finish this. Okay, whoop, got you. We'll fill all this in, even though we'll trim it up in a minute. For now, we can just get this in so that we've got it covered. And of course, then we need the bottom here. Just go, that's all gonna be blacked out in a minute too. So it really is fine if I go over the edge, because this is all going to get cleaned up. But for right now, I'm just, come on. Just adding this stuff in. Okay. Alright. Alright, put that there. Bring that in here. Oop, over there. Okay. Alright, and we'll just go to a smaller brush here. Or not smaller brush, we'll switch to, well, I guess it is paintbrush to ink brush, so it is technically a smaller brush, even though what I meant was I was changing tools entirely. Let's go to the brush here, Nice. Okay. That. All right, now let's do a little bit of cleanup on this. So let's do. I want to just see how this works. Is this going to be symmetrical or not? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, so we can just do nice, simple. Actually, that's going to be the real test. Is this right here? Is that actually symmetrical? It is! Okay, good. I was not sure it would be. It is. That's good. That means I can have some good clean edges here. Because what I'm going to eventually do is, as I typically do, fuchsize this background so that way, because the problem is, white can be very easy to miss some of these edges, but with that hot super pink, I am not going to have any mystery about where I have edges I have to clean up at all. It just makes it so much easier. It really does. All right, so we'll turn the assist off. Doesn't look like it is, in fact, perfectly symmetrical. Or maybe I had done some before I turned it on. Either way, very simple to just clean up these little... Oh, you know why? Because I didn't do even paint strokes. That's why. That's why. Yeah, I gotta get in there. Make sure all these edges are accounted for. I don't want to have any missed edges here. Make sure that's all there. That's there. So yeah, this character, they started the Dungeons & Dragons campaign when it was still October. So it was still Halloween time, so it's definitely got a Halloween feel to it, or just a fall feel, I should say. I shouldn't really say Halloween specifically, just general fall vibes to it. And that's where it's coming from. So, okay, now, as far as the eyes, this is going to be for the eyes. So, let's go one up here. Yeah, I don't want it to just be pure black for the eyes. I want it to be where there's a little bit of color to it. You can tell it's not true black. You know, that's the idea. So that's what I'm going for here. Oh, geez, did I? Yeah, these are mirrored. I don't know why I didn't do that. Just do symmetry. Gotta start defaulting to symmetrical, because a lot of this was done as a mirrored drawing. Some of it was not. So some of it will not perfectly line up because, like you can see, the shadow across the forehead is not symmetrical because that really wouldn't make sense. I want it to be more organic. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I gotta mute my thing. Whoo! Made it. Sometimes when I have to sneeze, it takes a minute to kind of, I can tell it's coming. Like it builds up and it's very easy to mute in time. And then there are other moments where the sneeze is giving me about a 3-second warning and I have to make sure I mute the microphone and not the wrong. Muting the background music isn't going to help you, but muting the microphone will. So I wanted to make sure I was muting the actual microphone. So I did not sneeze loudly into the mic. Even covering my mouth, it's still going to be loud just because of the proximity of the mic. I can't do much about that. It's just how it is. So, yeah. But luckily, I was able to do it in time. So, yeah. I'm doing, what am I doing? Oh, I'm going to be doing I think I mentioned on one of the streams, I'm sure at least a few I mentioned that I had gone to Adobe Max. Well, depending on when you hear this, if you're hearing it live, it was last week. If you are, wait, was it last week? No, well, a week before. Jeez, it's funny how fast time goes. 2 weeks ago. And they are doing some focus groups from that, and I'm going to be in one for about 90 minutes where they're going to be talking about some of their products, which I enjoy doing that stuff because some people will say companies really don't care what you have to say, but if they're going to, I mean, they're paying a $75 Amazon gift card, and I figure, well, companies don't generally just give away money. So if they're actually going to compensate people, then my hunch is they are actually paying attention to what we're going to say. I think it is geared towards Adobe stock specifically, which is their asset. You know, if you ever use Shutterstock or anything like that, where basically you go in and pick from pre-made assets for different projects. I believe that's what this one is centered around, is Adobe stock, which I do use fairly often. So I'm interested in what the focus group is going to be talking about. That will be interesting. I'm curious. I am curious what they're doing there. Okay, so we've got I'm calling it eye black, even though it's really not black. It's whatever this color is, but it's not black because the pupils are black. And then let's see, I have my gradations over here. So let's go to this one. Whoops. Let's go to this one. There we go. And let's do another layer here. We'll go ahead and mirror that. And we'll go ahead and lay this in here. Just like that. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm giving there some color depth to this. Nothing too complicated. I don't do a lot of complicated color work. But just a little bit there. And we'll do the same thing. Oh, no, actually, what's the other one? Yeah, let's do the same thing underneath. Let's do that for here. All right. And then we'll use that third color for... So this color here, which should be different from these two. It is. So let's do another layer with an assist. And that will go in here. And see, it's just enough that it gives a little bit of separation. Just a tad. Yep. And then we'll use that same color for... Oh, for here. Which one do I want to use for that? Let's use that for this. This here, where it's kind of coming off of the main dark areas. Yeah. There we are. There we are. Actually, you know what? I'm going to check something very quickly while I'm thinking about it. Bear with me 1 minute. I'm just looking at something real quick here. Just in case. Why can I not see... That's interesting. It doesn't show me. Huh. Why is it like that anyway? Is it because of this thing that it's in? Hold on. Sorry. Just bear with me. Why is it set like that? Hold on. Full screen tile. Blah, 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 blah. It's weird that it doesn't show. Reload. There we go. Let's see. Reloading. It's odd. Oh, is it that? There we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I had a hunch that's what it was. Okay. Get rid of that. I don't need this anymore. Okay. Back to it. Sorry. All right, here we go. So, what was I talking about? Yeah, so that's supposed to be on, the focus group is apparently going to be on Adobe stock, which I do use quite a bit. So, I would imagine, just based on some of the announcements that came out from Adobe, that some of it is going to be around AI-generated assets, which I will tell you. And if they ask, I will tell them. I filter those off. I find that AI-generated stock assets tend to all look very similar, and I just don't have any interest in using them. So that, if I see it, I immediately toggle that off. Just not... Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that. Let me fix that. It's just not something I'm interested in using. And you can... At least I can always tell. Maybe, you know, I understand not everybody can see it the same way. Some people really don't notice it, and that's fine. I'm not going to say that I think that Adobe shouldn't have... I mean, look, in a very, very general term, I've been using the term in the broad strokes a lot lately, and I'm trying to not repeat phrases a lot. So, in general, as a kind of automatic rule, I suppose, I would prefer not to ever see AI anything in any of my stuff unless I specifically ask for it, which I have never felt the need to. That's just me personally. As I always say, this is not me telling anybody that they should or shouldn't use a tool that's useful to them. I simply have never found that it was ever useful. In fact, I have kind of looked, because a lot of the search engines now have some form of an automatic AI component, and I don't, so I will look at it just out of curiosity to see what it looks like. And honestly, and this is kind of my general feeling on it, it's never given me anything that a standard search result that I do gives me. Just hasn't. And so long as that stays the case, I don't need it in anything. I'm good. I'm fine. Thanks. I don't want it in stuff unless I specifically call for it. And I'm not going to say that day's never going to come that I would actually request something as an AI thing, but I certainly don't. I have noticed that when it's present in stock, I have looked at some of those stock results, and I'm not going to say that they're all terrible, because I don't think that would be really fair or true, but I don't think I've ever opted to use any of them. I've always found a better result for what I need using an actual, I know this is going to sound like a dumb term to say, a human-generated, that's just true, stock image. Just always has been the best result for me. I'm just going to block some stuff in here. So let me go here, and let's get in the dark layer back here, which is that. Let's get the paintbrush. Yeah, we'll just, see, it's revealing things I've missed, which is good. That's a benefit of having a nice dark color in the background, as you can see where you missed something. Okay, there we go. All right, back to it. Let's get this color blocked in. So I don't know. I have a feeling that some of it's going to be around, well, have you, do you use the AI features inside of stock? Why not? Why not? And it sounds like, oh, I didn't clean those lines up. Hold on, sorry. Just noticed that I did not clean these lines up, and I really should have. So let's get those cleaned up. That's sloppy work, and I don't like doing sloppy work. So let's clean those up really quick. I know obviously I did some line cleanup. I must have just forgotten those. Yeah, I think we're good now. Okay. I think there's going to be stuff that they want us to do, so I would imagine that they'll have us, try. I'm just guessing. I have no idea what it's actually going to be. They had said something about homework assignment or something, but I never got a follow-up email on that, so I don't know. It could come tomorrow. The actual meeting isn't until Wednesday, so there may be something that's coming through tomorrow. It was supposed to be attached to the invite. I never saw anything that indicated, they said easy homework, which if I had to guess, again, if it is an AI-centric thing, then I would have guessed it would be something like, okay, go look in the assets for something and see if the results, blah, 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 include AI, blah, 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 blah. All speculation. They've said nothing. As far as the specifics, I just know that it has to do with Adobe Stock, because they were asking about that, and I believe it is called the Adobe Stock Focus Group. So I'm looking forward to that. I like that kind of stuff. When there's a company whose stuff I use a lot, then I am always, ready to participate in something like that, because I do think it's important that if they are listening, if offered the opportunity to give an opinion, I'm going to give an opinion. I have them. I have no problem giving them. So we'll see. We'll see. Whether they actually do anything with that, I don't know. You never know what a very, very wealthy company is going to do if you give an answer they don't like. As far as will that be incorporated, or will they find a way to not pretend the answer wasn't what they wanted, but re-quantify it in such a way that it fits the corporate narrative. There's no way to know. There's no way to really know. But I would hope, big word, hope that if they are doing this, and like I said, actually compensating people, that would seem to indicate that they're at least interested in our actual input and answers. Whether, again, it changes anything with what the company is currently planning to do, I really cannot imagine it would. But, you can't complain too much if the company's at least acting like they're listening. That's something. It's something. You know what I think I'm gonna do? Because I don't like the idea of. I think I'm going to hold on. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go back here. What is this? What is this? What I want to find is that's what I want right there. Perfect. That's that. Yes. Okay. Let's grab the pen. We're going to go to pure black because this is going to be lined. We're going to go to here. I think I already have the line I need. Let's check. I do. No, it looks a little small. Yeah, it's a little small. I need to go up one. No, go up one. 5 maybe. That's it. All right, so let's create a secondary shadow here, which we'll just do like this. Okay, well, we'll do this, but we'll actually complete the line maybe. And this will be the shadow going along the top here where the head is. And that will give me a nice, clean black break for the hairline. So I don't have to worry about mixing colors. And I can just go right through black, true black right there. That will work out very nicely. Thank you very much, me. And it's asymmetric, which I think is good. That's great. Let's join these lines up really quick. Yeah, that way I don't have to worry about that kind of very dark navy blue, you know, not quite gelling with the black properly in a way that you might be able to see. So this way I can just have a pure black shadow, and that will get me out of that problem. So let's go to my black layer, which is here, and let's go ahead and just fill all this. Now I have to be careful with this because this is the top layer. Black is always, for me, the top layer, because it covers everything else. So you have to be careful when you're using whatever the top color layer is. You have to be careful because, well, I'll show you. See, it goes right over. So I have to be a little bit more careful on the edging here so that I preserve the line work. And we'll bring that right there. And we'll just go along here. Some of this will likely be, will be able to be filled by a paintbrush. It's the only problem with this harsh pink and black. If I miss a spot, it can actually be invisible because the pink is so bright. I don't know how it looks to you, but it's so bright on my screen that it can wash out. You can actually literally wash the black out. Sorry, it didn't disappear, just really thirsty. So I'm just getting a drink of water. Let me just see something here. My phone just lit up. It's nothing I care about, right? No. Okay, just checking. I have my alerts turned off, but whenever I see the light on the phone go, I just want to make sure. Just concerned, like most people, just always make sure it's not an emergency. Make sure it's not a family member who's just had a car accident or anything like that, because fortunately in the world things can just happen in an instant and things can change rapidly, so you never know. I actually have to get a passport this year. I meant to do it last year and I didn't need it, so I kind of let it go, but I don't want to do that. I just want to have a passport, not for any particular reason. I'm not going to be fleeing the country to evade, tax fraud or something. Nothing like that. Just kind of like the idea of having it. It's just a good idea, I think. I feel like having a passport is good. For me. I just want one. I had one for a long time and I let it lapse, and I should have stayed more on top of it, but again, it was one of those things where it's very easy to just not worry about it. And then, of course, with COVID and everything else, nobody was traveling. It just fell by the wayside. It's so easy, like everything in life. It's so simple to just let things fall by the wayside. But yeah, I gotta do it. Because it's not a big deal. I mean, there's the public library where we live can do it. So there's really no reason that I can think of. I got the passport photos, so that's set. That is done. So I got that part. At least I got that ready to go. Oh, I missed a little spot right there, of course. Let's fill that in. There we are. Back to black. Sorry. Started humming Back in Black by AC/DC. AC/DC, a band that shows up in a lot of crossword puzzles as a simple way to put those letters in where they otherwise wouldn't fit. I have picked up on that. I very much enjoy crosswords. I always have. I'm trying to do them again because I know it's good for like cognitive resilience, keeping the old brain strong, and I just like doing them. But you do start to pick up that there's these words that get used a lot. I'm trying to think of some of them. Besides, like I said, AC/DC comes up as a band very often. What's another one I'm thinking of? And even certain phrases come up quite a bit. Like TBD. To set the date in the future. Abbreviated TBD for to be determined, or TBA to be announced. That's a lot. Etc. ETC, the three letters ETC come up a lot. Again, these are ways for them to bridge words, or to have bridge words where they can't necessarily fit a normal word, and so they use these abbreviated words. Which I want to say at one point, crosswords using abbreviated words was less common. And it has become more common, but I don't exactly know the world history of crosswords, so I could be wrong about that. But I feel like I see more abbreviated words now than I remember when I was younger. But that could just be my perception. I don't know if that's actual fact or not. I don't want to present it as such when I don't actually know. So, just perhaps an observation. Now I am going to. Ooh, I put myself into. Yeah, you know what? It's okay. I say I put myself into a bind there because I was going to use... Oh, no, I'm not. No, I know what I'm doing. That's not going to be black. That's going to be the darker skin color. Never mind. I knew something didn't seem right about that. That's what it was. Where... That's done, so we're good there. All right, so now we'll just keep going with the black inside of here. This is a black layer for now for the hair. So we'll just keep going. Just keep going here. That's fine. That's a hair bristle, so I'm not gonna hair whisker, I guess. Hair, just a hair. It's just a hair. I did all the stuff in there, right? Yes. Wait, where's the other one? That's what I was looking for. This. Let's take this big paintbrush and we'll keep going here. See there? So the black is the true black of it, and then you've got this hat color behind it. And that'll look fine. Yep, okay, and then that's coming down into here, right, okay, yep, and then that might be black down there. We'll get to that in a minute. This will be behind, oh, that's behind that. What am I doing? I don't have to worry about that line. That doesn't matter because I'm good there. Okay, same thing here. We come down around, and then we go into here. Do that, and I must have gone a little bit over, clearly. And what's the time? 40 minutes. Wow, yeah, time flies. Time flies, but that's all right. It's all right. Really is. We are doing good here because we're getting the big color stuff put in, and it's all going to be fine detail work and adjustment. But the basics of it are here. That's a good thing. Get the kind of big stuff done. Yep. Okay, now, so that's going to be black down there. So let's... Actually, I don't have a darker one, right? No, that's not darker. It's just different. I'm going to go pure black down. Well, do I want to go pure black down there? Or do I want to do a darker version of this? A good question. Let's do a new layer. let's see. I don't know how much darker that's even going to get before it's going to just end up being black. I mean, it might already be black from that. Let's see. Switch to the black. Let's see where we are. I mean, that's foundationally, that's just black. It's just black on a different spectrum, but it is. Okay, let's see if I can just dim this down. Let's do like 46. Where's 46 laying on this? Let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's see. I mean, I'm just going to go with black. No, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm just going to go black on it. Just do pure black. It's going to be so close to black anyway that I don't think an ordinary person is going to perceive that difference. And I don't think it's worth having that one little shade for. I really don't. I think it's going to be fine. So we'll just black it out. It's okay. I mean, it is a shadowy area, so it should have black in it. I mean, you lose a little bit of the bristles, which is kind of a shame. But actually, would it be reflected? You know what? I just reversed my own decision because I thought of something, which is the idea, the concept of reflected light. The orange of those ruffles would, in fact, cause a bit of reflected light. And so, if I'm trying to actually have decent color theory, it would be something like that. Would go in that area. Yeah. Sure. And that will also, see that, because that's the light bouncing off of that collar. Now, everybody, can I be honest with you? I don't know anything about color theory, but I do know there's bouncing light. And the real reason I want to do it is so that I don't have to destroy all these hairs. I want these hairs to be preserved. So I immediately pulled an emergency actual art theory justification for doing something that I wanted to do anyway, which was have the color be slightly lighter so that I could preserve the hair. But it does have its roots in actual art theory, which is the idea of bounced or reflected light. So I can pretend that I'm doing that because I'm following the principles of art and how light works. But in fact, it's just because I didn't want to lose the hairs. So I could lie and say it's otherwise, but come on. Why bother? Why not just admit that I happen to think of something that logically could work and would let me accomplish what I wanted anyway, which was to preserve the hairs. Although I don't like how brown that is. I mean, I guess it would be. It wouldn't exactly turn orange. Even with that light reflecting, it's not going to change the color. So, it's fine. I preserve the hair. I'll take that. I'll take that win where I can get it. Ugh, win. I'll take that win. It's such corporate speak. Ugh. Do not enjoy talking like that. I do not. I'll take that win. Ugh. Grossing myself out talking like that. Corpo speak. Not a fan. Not a fan. I mean, it's just some of the words that I hear used in like corporate and office environments are so stupid. Learnings. Learnings. That's a word. Learnings that you hear from adults who otherwise speak like adults. And they say, we have some learnings. Learnings? What? I mean, I'm not saying it's grammatically wrong, although I think it is. I think you would just say learning. We've gained some learning. We've learned from these things. We've gotten examples. I don't learnings. That was not a thing for a long time. I did not hear people saying that. And now you hear it a lot. You know, like best practices. Now, best practices at least logically makes sense. I don't like the term. I just just don't. It's a very, very sterile and, I don't know, inhuman term to me. Best practices. Sounds like something a machine would dream up. But at least it sounds more correct than learnings. I just don't like the word learnings. I don't like it. Completely just, what do you call it? Irrational dislike of that. But that's the beauty of human beings. We can irrationally like or dislike things. As long as you admit to the irrationality of it and don't try to pretend it's justified, that's a plus. So, what was I talking about? I can't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the Adobe thing. So that'll be interesting. I am actually very curious what that's going to be like. I have not done one of these with Adobe yet. I've done similar things with Libsyn, which was actually a great experience. I've done it with Logitech, great experience. I've done it with one other company where I did like a long form video thing. What was it? I've got to think about that, actually. Yeah, I don't remember. There was a third company, though. I mean, they've all been good experiences. I've had a very nice time talking to the people. So that's a plus. You know, and I'm sure that they get personable people to conduct these so that people are more comfortable and be more honest and open up and talk frankly. Because they'll feel like they're in a safe and listened to environment. So I'm sure they're getting the right people that can facilitate meaningful and open and honest conversations with stakeholders and customers to better advance the success of the company as a whole and the customer satisfaction from those who pay for our services. See, I could do this. I mean, I couldn't. I could not really do that. I am far too blunt of a human being. There's a level of diplomatic speak you have to have a command of for these types of things, and I don't have that. I can't do it. I'm not made that way. It's not how my father raised me. It was to be direct with people and to just try to be, I mean, you don't want to be honest in a way that harms anybody or is offensive or anything like that, but the idea of moderating myself or anything like that is just, I can't even think of how I would do it. It's just not the way I'm wired. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but I'd be a liar. That would make me a liar. Okay, I'm going to do a very lighter even than it was for this, for the kind of edge of where the folds are. Is that going? Yeah, I thought so. I thought this was above the other layer. I'm pretty sure. That's where I would have put it. I do tend, except for the black layers, to put lighter layers on top and darker layers beneath. So I figured that's what I had done. And like I said, except for black, because black is kind of the command color. Black and white. Black is the command color, and white is the background color. So white, I generally always put as the very bottom layer, and black I always put as the top layer, because black, I feel like black is the power side of the spectrum, where I want that to override anything else, and I want white to fall back to anything else, because it's often a highlight color, or white is such a blunt color. And, you could say black is too, but black is more of a strong color, whereas white is more of a blunt color, because white just kind of, it shoots out at you. I find that it's harsher on the eye. Therefore, if it's overused, it's more noticeable in a negative way, whereas black is more comforting to the eye in many ways, for a lot of people, not everybody. And so I find that its use, if you go heavy with black, you tend to end up, if only accidentally, stumbling into style, as opposed to using too much white, and it's like, emptiness or harshness. You know what I mean? There's something in there, and I don't know what it is. I'm no scientist, so I can't tell you what the actual roots of that are, but it definitely feels that way to me. If it's between black and white, and I'm gonna see one or the other overused, I'm always gonna opt for black. Because I'd rather be searching for the detail in the black areas that may not exist than shielding myself from looking at something because there's too much white and it's blowing my eyeballs out. So I think that's actually a much better explanation for that than I thought I'd come up with. That was kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't know that I'd articulate it that clearly. Amazing. Once in a while I can actually describe something and make a point in a clear and intentional fashion. It does occur. Rare, but it does. So, okay. So where are we here? I will probably wrap up the stream once I finish these rim accents, or ridge accents, or whatever these would be called. I think that's probably a good place to stop for this stream, because I can feel the iPad starting to heat up a little bit. And even though I know it's made to be used for long periods of time, I don't like to... Heat and electronics, if you didn't already know this, not comfortable bedfellows. Electronics are meant to be cool. In fact, one of the biggest challenges with electronics is keeping them cool. So, yeah, I don't like to run my system or my iPad too hot. I truly don't. So we're just going to finish the facial hair up here. And then we will be done, I think. Just because I want to blacken this in so I can see it. Just so I can see it a bit. Just kind of put this on here. That can stay there. It's a nice little bit of accent detail. Whoa, jeez. What is it with these idiots? Unbelievable. Oh yeah, best viewers, stream boo, really? Banned! The vibe's off as... I'll share your stream. Yeah, I don't know if that person was real or not, but I believe that they probably weren't. Why is that message still there? Oh, it'll get rid of it. Whatever that message is with that stupid remove the space thing, just ignore that, everybody. Sorry. Unfortunately, I cannot prevent idiots from spewing their garbage on here, as far as I know anyway. And believe me when I tell you, it is garbage. Don't ever use any of these services or these spammers or scammers. Don't buy viewers. Don't pay for views. Grow your channel organically. Trust me, you're not going to be making any money on doing this stuff. If that's what you're in it for, you're just going to be disappointed. You know, if you're streaming stuff, stream it because you enjoy doing it, not because you're trying to make a fortune on it. If you're good at it and you get an audience, the money will follow. And if you're not, artificially ballooning it will not last. It might have a short-term boost, and I guess if that's all you're about is the short-term grift, then I suppose go for it, but I'm not. So I'm staying well clear of all that nonsense, because it just ain't for me. So anyway, 5 viewers, give me a break. I can't believe these people still exist. Is there really still money in that? I feel like all that is well over with at this point. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the fool and I'm missing out. I'm buying my viewers. But you know what? I don't really care if I am, because I've never really been in it to make money at this. It's not why I do it. So if I'm leaving a buck on the table in service of my integrity, that's $1 worth leaving. You know? It is. For me. For me. Your mileage may vary. Oh, actually, one of the... I think about the crossword thing, it popped back into my mind. Because I think that was one of the clues is your mileage may blank, and the answer was vary. But the one of the ones I think I did today, or maybe it was yesterday's one, God, this 6-7 thing. Look, I don't care. I know enough of what it is to know that I'm too old to care, and I don't want to know. It's fine. I'm fine not knowing everything, but man, oh man, it really does tell you. There's certain things you just notice the wave of, okay, everybody has to mention this so that they can say they mentioned it. The 6-7 thing is going around now, and this is November of 2025, depending on how much later you listen to this. The 6-7 thing is everywhere. Everybody's writing about it. Everybody's talking about it. It's utterly stupid. Let the kids have their little in-jokes and stuff. It's perfectly fine if we as adults don't get it. There was stuff when I was kids that we would, these little words and phrases we'd say, and we'd laugh at the adults when they would be mystified by the fact that they didn't understand what we were doing. And nobody was writing articles about it. Deciphering the origins of 6-7. Who cares? The people who need to know what that is already know. And anybody else, by the time you get it figured out, it's going to be over. So just let it go. Why do you care in the first place? You know, it's clearly not something where they're, trading drugs using these phrases. That's obviously not what it is. So who cares? When I was young, back in my day, my mother didn't know who Rage Against the Machine were as a band. So I'd be singing certain lyrics, and I'm sure that she was kind of looking at me funny because there's a lot of, I suppose anti-American is not an unfair phrase to apply to it, or very progressive anarchist kind of vibes to Rage Against the Machine. So I'm sure when she heard me saying certain phrases, she was a bit concerned. But, I didn't go around bombing federal buildings or anything. It was fine. It was music I liked, and I kind of thought some of the concepts were interesting. So she really didn't need to know any more than that. I was not a bad kid. That's the part that mattered, and it's the same thing. It's like, who cares, everybody? Who cares? Let the kids have their jokes. It's one of the upsides of being a kid, is you can be highly amused. Hey, it's one of the upsides of being an adult, now that I say that. It's not like I'm any different. One of the things that's fun is being amused by dumb things that nobody else gets. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, one of the crossword puzzles had a bunch of stuff referring to it. And I got to a certain point, I'm like, I'm not doing this puzzle anymore because I don't even want to be near this thing. Happy just leaving it alone where it is. And it was. So that's how it went. 6-7. 6-7, everybody. Probably not even using it right. And not really worried about not using it right. Okay, I think we're good. Oh, you know what? Let me extend the skin color down into here, just so I've got it down here as well. So let me just put this in here, just to have it. And I am, because the eyes are freaking me out being pink like that, I'm gonna just put the eye white in, just so it's got some eye white behind it. But you'll see, here's what I'm talking about. So the base layer will be the white layer. So there's white, and we'll just white that out, and we'll white that out. And I believe his eyes are kind of like a dark brown. I haven't actually looked. I'm going to use this color for it. I kind of like that color. Let's stack that on top of there. Let's get ourselves an ink brush. Add some nice color in here. I should use a thinner brush. And after this, I will actually be done. I've said that like 4 times. I'm right at an hour, so that's not bad. So I guess I just have to announce my intention to end the stream a good 8 or 9 minutes before I intend to, and then I'll end up where I want to be anyway. Excellent. Planning. Organization, an art of art. There's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That organization, there's a phrase that I came up with. Not a phrase I came up with when I'm talking about. There was an in-joke. I don't even remember where it started, but I guarantee that I'm the only person who remembers anymore. But the phrase organization, an art of business, was the punchline to some kind of joke years and years ago. only among people who were employees at a store called Brookstone, which does not exist anymore. The store is long gone. It's been absorbed into Sharper Image, I think, which has been absorbed into something else. I mean, Brookstone was always a knockoff of Sharper Image, even when I was working there, and it was somewhat popular. But, you know, you're talking about a small group of people who knew what that joke meant. So I would say that. People would laugh. We were the only ones who knew it. And did that harm anybody? It did not. So that's what I'm saying. We all have these things. And it doesn't always need to be understood and clearly defined for others to understand it as well. Have your in-jokes. Have the things that only your people understand. That is okay. It's fun. Makes you all feel like you're part of a secret gang. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as nobody's getting hurt. And nobody's going to get hurt by a secret inside baseball joke. Yeah, geez, I keep finding things that I just want to make sure I do. I just don't like the idea of, I want to make the teeth white. For now, I don't know that they're going to stay white. I might make them into candy corns. I might. That's kind of a neat idea, I think. As I think of it, I kind of like the idea of what that might look like. It might look stupid, but I might do it. We'll see. Can always change it if I don't like it. That's the beauty of having it in digital. Editing power. Editing power. The ability to go back and set right went wrong. Not set white, but I did set the teeth white. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Oh boy, this is coming out very, very well. But this is where I'm going to stop. So let me do this. Let me be right back. There we go. And we will do a disconnect of this. All right. And on that note, wow, yeah. You know why? Because I think it's actually getting a little higher than usual because I'm doing the broadcasting too. I'm sure it doesn't enjoy doing both things at once. Oh yeah, it's pretty warm. Pretty warm. Anyway, well, I know that one doofus wasn't a real person, but Save Steps may have been a real person. If so, Save Steps, if you are a real person, in fact, and not a bot or a scammer. Thanks for stopping by. Anybody else would be watching this later on, which is fine with me. This is why I put these things on the YouTube channel, so that people can watch them whenever they want. So if you are watching this later, I appreciate you watching it at all. And I will end this particular stream and video by saying what I always say, which is find a creator who does work that you really enjoy and that brings something to your life, and do something to support that creator. I'm not talking about myself. I'm doing fine. But there are many creators who are trying to make a living being creative, which is not easy. So if you can do anything to help those people, it doesn't have to be monetary. People jump straight to the monetary thing, which is fine if you can do it. If you can support people with money, do so. I'm sure they could use it. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be resharing their work. It can be following them whatever platform they have. It could be just sending them a note saying, I really appreciate the work that you do. A lot of people think that that's kind of something that seems lazy or not really that effective. Let me tell you something. You don't know what's going on in a creator's life. They might be struggling with whether they want to keep creating or not. And that note could be the thing that says, no, keep doing it. There's people who like what you're doing. Therefore, it's worth doing. That alone could be worth as much as any donation of money you could make. So take the time to do those things. They really, really do matter, and they're worth doing. So on that note, thanks for being here. And until the next stream, support your local creators in whatever way you can. Until next time, take care.